You're watching ABC7 News at 5.
Good evening, I'm Jacqueline Matter.
And I'm Scott Dennis. Thanks so much for being with us tonight. Our top story this evening, Florida may be on the verge of becoming the first state to observe daylight saving time all year long.
That bill is headed to Governor Rick Scott's desk, but it's still far from a done deal. ABC7's Jess Dowdrick joins us live from the Sarasota Bayfront to explain what obstacles still stand in the way. Jess?
Jacqueline, Scott, even if Governor Scott signs off on the bill, it will still need the stamp of approval from Congress. If all gets approved, then when Floridians turn their clocks ahead later this week, they'll never have to touch them again.
Take a little bit off all over, not too much on top.
What started as a conversation at this Manatee County barber shop,
it's something that has annoyed me since I was a little kid,
is now the reason that the entire state of Florida could spend all year long in daylight saving time.
Obviously, Senator Stubbe kind of took the action here from the barbershop and listening to all the people, which is what his job is, obviously, and passed it along to his people up there.
It's an issue that both Republicans and Democrats can agree on. The bill passing the Senate in just 1 minute with an overwhelming 33-2 vote of support. Inside the clock gallery on Bee Ridge Road, spending the entire year in daylight saving hours could change things. About 500 things.
We don't actually change the clocks in here ourselves. We only change like maybe a couple, but I do have a lot of customers that come in here and we change clocks for them. I do watches for them, certain clocks, that sort of thing.
Springing ahead and falling back brings a lot of business to Barbara Phillips and her team. Business that they could potentially lose.
You'd be surprised how many people actually damage their clock during the time change.
Which may be exactly why Phillips hears most customers grumble about having to change their clocks.
I do get a lot of people saying, oh, I don't know why we have to do this all the time. There are a lot of people that don't like the time change.
But for other businesses, like Robin Hood Rentals on Siesta Key,
a little bit slower in the winter, then it's clear.
An extra hour of daylight could mean an extra hour of bike and scooter rentals.
Places close around 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock due to the light. If the light was out longer, if there was more light till 8, 9, there would be more stores open, maybe more people out.
And that's the goal for lawmakers. If this bill is approved, then Florida will join 2 other states that have opted out of time changes, Hawaii and Arizona. Reporting live in Sarasota, Jess Dowdrick, ABC7, your Suncoast News.
All right, Jess, thanks so much. New details tonight on an indictment on the accused Parkland school shooter. A grand jury indicting Nicholas Cruz on 34 counts of premeditated attempted murder in connection with the shooting rampage that left 17 people dead on Valentine's Day. The 19-year-old gunman was charged with 17 counts of premeditated murder in the first degree, along with 17 counts of attempted murder in the first degree. Cruz's public defender says he'll plead guilty if prosecutors take the death penalty off the table, which would mean life prison sentence. The Broward County State Attorney has not yet announced a decision on that death penalty.
The Florida House has spent nearly 5 hours so far today debating a wide-ranging proposal sparked by last month's school shooting. The legislature's $400 million plan steers money to mental health screening and services in school hardening and includes funds to raise and rebuild the freshman building at Stoneman Douglas High School. The most controversial part of that bill would allow specially trained teachers and staff members to take guns to schools. Many representatives have said that the bill is not perfect, but feel it is a good start to prevent another tragedy.
We have seen on many levels how the system failed. But one nice thing about this bill is it attempts on many of those levels to correct some of those errors.
If the House approves the bill, Governor Rick Scott must also sign off on the plan. Scott said this afternoon that he will study the legislation and take input from the families who lost children in the Parkland shooting.
A Suncoast State Senator says all the discussion on gun control put them behind schedule, and he predicts they will not adjourn on time Friday. Bill Galvano was the Senate sponsor of the $400 million Stoneman Douglas school safety bill. He predicts it will pass the House today, as it passed the Senate 2 days ago. Galvano says there were several reasons why there was not a provision to ban the sale of assault rifles.
There's a philosophical reason about infringing on the Second Amendment rights, but there's also even a more technical reason with the Florida Constitution. Article 1, Section 8 is a lot more specific than the federal Constitution and defines firearms for purposes of defense. And that there was some political posturing on that issue as well. So understand that there's a lot of balance, and we're going into areas that are not the comfort zone for a lot of the members with the reasonable firearm safety regulations that we have in this bill.
Galvano calls his plan a landmark piece of legislation to protect Florida children. He also called this session unique in terms of having to go on a tragic journey with the survivors from Stoneman Douglas High School.
School safety and security is a hot button issue with endless possible solutions being debated across the nation. Sarasota County's Sheriff Tom Knight is throwing his own unique plan into the conversation. ABC7's Alan Cohn joins us now to explain what that plan entails.
Jacqueline, it's called the Sarasota County School Marshal Security Opportunity. Sheriff Knight wants to put retired law enforcement officers and veterans into the schools armed to defend against active shooters or any threat to student safety. Sheriff Knight says he has been working on the plan since the Sandy Hook school shooting and has recently proposed it to the Sarasota County schools. The sheriff's office would train retired officers and veterans, but the school district would have to hire and pay them. Sheriff Knight proposes these retirees would be dressed in street clothes to blend in with others on campus and have a concealed weapon. The issue right now is Florida law does not allow anyone aside from law enforcement officers to carry a concealed weapon on school campuses.
These are people who over the course of their career have confronted danger, don't run from danger. They will be the ones going at the shooter while teachers and school board administrators and everybody else is trying to secure the children and keep the children safe.
Coming up tonight at 7, we'll hear what the district and those opposed to the plan have to say about the proposal. Also hear from a veteran himself. Back to you.
All right, Alan, thank you. And Sheriff Knight also announcing the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office 2017 annual report is now available. That report provides an overview of important local issues, including crime, addiction, the budget, and public safety. It also reviews the agency's administrative, law enforcement, and courts and corrections divisions and how each of them serves the community. The report summarizes key activities throughout the year, and you can find that report online at sarasotasheriff.org.
Well, let's get a check on our first alert weather forecast for this Wednesday evening. Let's head over to Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan.
Thanks, Jacqueline and Scott. We had a front move through early in the morning and brought with it some rainfall, mainly rain and nothing severe and just an isolated thunderstorm here or there. But it has blown through. Temperature has cooled now to 66 degrees. Lots of sunshine out there, clear skies. High pressure building back in, going to force that front and stay well down to our south through Cuba and the Bahamas. Right now, the dew point temperature extremely low. 42 degrees. That's important because the lower the dew point, the colder it gets overnight. And we're going to see low temperatures tonight in the 40s in places. If you live right along the beach, looks like temperatures there will be in the low 50s. You can see that front making its way through right around 4 o'clock in the morning to about 7. We had some showers around, nothing too severe, as I said, but we had one line go through and then another line after that. And most of that now down into the Keys. Heading toward the Florida Straits and eventually toward Cuba as that high pressure builds in. Right now, radar checking clear, and we'll do so too for the next several days until we get to Sunday. It looks like small craft advisory remains in effect now due to those strong winds out of the northwest until 9 o'clock tonight. That will be expiring at 9. And then a high fire danger exists inland due to the relatively humidity below 35% there. On top of that, rip current risk continues here along the west coast of Florida. That's up until about 9 o'clock tonight. Some upper level clouds streaming on by. We'll talk about those. We'll talk about the next storm system, which promises to bring us some rainfall. Details on all that coming up in a few minutes. Back to you.
All right, Bob, thank you. 3 mail trucks catch fire at the mail processing center along Televast Road near the airport this morning. The call came in just after 10 a.m. Black smoke seen from that fire. The cabs of the 3 trucks were damaged, but fortunately there was no mail in any of those trucks at the time. It took firefighters only 5 to 10 minutes to put it out. Cause of the fire at this point undetermined, but it's not believed to be arson. No injuries were reported. Hazmat crews were called in because of the oil and gas from the trucks that leaked from that fire.
New details tonight about the abandoned townhomes that almost went up in flames during a brush fire in Palmetto yesterday. The space on 28th Street Court East has been vacant for 10 to 15 years, welcoming a number of transients who have completely trashed it. ABC7's Taylor Torregano spoke with neighbors about the concerns it brings to the community. She joins us now live in our studio with more details. Taylor?
Yes, good evening, Jacqueline. Though only one county violation was posted on the gates, today the code enforcement officer assigned to the property tells me it has numerous open cases. Here's why. Broken windows, graffiti, and debris strewn everywhere. And now, after a fire being investigated as arson yesterday, this new warning sign posted by Manatee County government deeming this property is unsafe. The North River Fire District Fire Marshal says transients have been living here since the property foreclosed back in 2007. I reached out to the company that owns the property. The manager tells me he's currently on vacation. The property is for sale, and I reached out to the realtor who hasn't responded. Neighbors in the area tell me they worry this building will depreciate their property value, and one woman with small children says she wishes something would be done.
There's been transients that have been coming in and out of this building for the past 10 to 15 years. We did see a sign around back that says that we did start the fire, but fortunately it didn't cause harm or damage to anyone. No one got hurt in the process, and so we're going to have to investigate further to see the possibility of who possibly started the fire.
Brummer says when her family moved there 4 years ago, they tried to get some answers from officials about this property, but no one would do anything about it. And despite the vandalism, the Manatee County Sheriff's Office says in the last 3 years, deputies have only been called there for some patrol, meaning a deputy searched the area but didn't find anything. Scott and Jacqueline, back to you.
All right, Taylor, thanks so much. Still to come in your Suncoast News, why another one of President Trump's top advisors is now resigning.
And Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan will be back with your first alert forecast, plus shocking new information from the CDC about the ongoing opioid crisis. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Northland Outdoors is about so much more than the biggest fish or the hottest hunting spots. All across the Northland, there are amazing people with incredible stories to tell. We're going to find those stories and share them with everyone. Join us each and every week as we explore the Northland and experience some of the most exciting outdoor adventures in the country right here in our own backyard. This is Northland Outdoors.
It's California Closet's Lighting and Accessories Sales Event. Save up to $1,000 now through April 30th. Call 1-800-CAL-CLOSETS for your free design consultation or visit us online at californiaclosets.com.
Hi, I'm Chef Bob. Watch Aprons in the Kitchen every Wednesday morning on ABC7, where we'll be serving up the most awesome dishes. Then stop by your neighborhood Publix, pick up the recipe card and all the ingredients.
My name is Stephen Campagna. We're Ben Gates and Dramus, and here is your law tip of the week. If you've been injured in an accident, whether or not it's your fault, your insurance company might be responsible for some of your expenses. So give us a call. We've got your back.
Today, everyone is looking for carpeting that lasts longer. G. Fried has you covered with Karastan. With a legacy of quality and integrity, we provide you with a huge selection of Karastan carpets with exclusive lifetime limited warranties. All installed by our highly skilled, highly knowledgeable team. Come ask us why Karastan is the best and most durable. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
I heard about the Dotoli Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Dotoli Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
And that helped precisely identify where my cancer was. I can tell you that you will not find a finer, more professional team of clinicians anywhere in the world.
Loaded with big laughs, colorful characters, and the songs that made the 20s roar, Bullets Over Broadway is bringing musical theater back with a bang. Your attendance is requested at the Players Center for this wild Broadway musical opening February 21st. Call the Players at 365-2494 or visit the website at theplayers.org. This is one Broadway show that is sure to knock 'em dead.
It's California Closet's lighting and accessories sales event. Save up to $1,000 now through April 30th. Call 1-800-CAL-CLOSETS for your free design consultation or visit us online at californiaclosets.com.
Now to the White House and the major departure of yet another one of President Trump's top staffers.
His chief economic advisor is resigning from the White House post, prompted by a dispute over the president's plan to impose tariffs on imports of steel and aluminum. ABC's Stephanie Ramos has more from Washington.
Another one of President Trump's top advisors is out. Economic advisor Gary Cohn is resigning after strongly opposing Trump's plan to impose tariffs on imports of steel and aluminum. White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders says there is no lack of options to replace Cohn.
The president's got a number of people that could potentially fill that role.
Cohn almost resigned last summer, upset by the president's response to the deadly violent clashes involving white nationalists in Charlottesville, Virginia.
But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides.
But Cohn stuck it out until Tuesday. On Capitol Hill, there is concern about Cohn's departure.
I'm concerned that who the president will turn to for advice. I think Mr. Cohn was an outstanding public servant.
Everybody wants to work in the White House.
Democratic leader Senator Chuck Schumer disagrees.
One of the problems here is the White House is getting hollowed out. They seem unable to recruit new people to take these jobs.
As for the administration, Sanders insists they still have a strong bench.
It's not abnormal that you would have people come and go, but we're continuing to do great work. We're continuing to focus on the president's agenda.
Gary Cohn is expected to leave the White House in the next few weeks, and sources tell ABC News several White House staffers have been terminated or reassigned for issues related to their security clearances. Stephanie Ramos, ABC News, Washington.
Now to that big winter storm on the East Coast. As residents in the Northeast deal with their second nor'easter in less than a week, crews were rushing to clean up toppled trees and down power lines from Friday's storm. This storm has been pelting the region with freezing rain, gale force winds, and in some parts up to a foot of snow so far. Along the hard-hit Massachusetts coastline, some communities remain underwater. The governor there telling residents to brace for another big hit.
We saw the damage that was done to so many homes and businesses and understand that the past few days have been extremely difficult for hundreds of people who've been displaced or without power. You better be prepared for a very big storm.
Thousands of flights have been canceled or delayed because of this storm. One of the hardest hit airports is LaGuardia in New York City. It has more than 400 cancellations today so far. Hundreds of schools also across the Northeast canceled classes today because of that storm.
There's some big basketball tournaments going on up there as well at Madison Square Garden, so I'm sure that's causing some issues for those teams that are having to go through
baseball
that.
supposed to be played too. I understand up there in Delaware. This is not it. You know, this is hard to believe. They had one last weekend, big nor'easter. This one coming through now, and there's another one due to arrive on Monday of next week and Tuesday. It could even be worse than this one.
Really?
So there's going to be a series of these low pressure areas moving through this trough of the jet stream, and it's going to keep us on the cooler side here. Here's a picture that someone sent into our pics at mysuncoast.com. This is White Plains, New York, and let's look over the train station there. It's pretty. It looks nice, doesn't it? But boy, I wouldn't want to be in it and driving around in it. A little bit damaging there. Interesting name too, Polar. Mr. Gregory Polar. That's a polar-looking shot right there. Joni getting this one. This is our contrast, what we're getting down here. It was a beautiful sunset last night from Nokomis. And today, this afternoon anyway, lots of sunshine out there, some high cirrus clouds racing on by, and those cirrus clouds just not going to really do a whole lot in terms of blocking the sun out tomorrow. They'll be around again tomorrow. Should make for a nice sunset tonight with those ice crystals up there. It can create some beautiful sunsets here along the Sun Coast. That front now well down to our south. It continues to push to the south and east. It didn't do a whole lot as far as rainfall goes for our area. We had a little bit more just to the north of us as it set up, but Titan radar not depicting any rainfall around now. Here's a look at the rainfall estimates. Some areas getting up to a half inch to a quarter inch in isolated areas, but for the most part, the heaviest rain fell to the north of the Tampa Bay area. Well, the day planner for tomorrow looks like this. We'll start off On a cooler note, low temperatures will be in the low to mid 50s right near the beaches and mid to upper 40s while inland. And then we'll see high temperatures only in the low 60s. So yes, winter is still here and will stick around for a while. Currently it's sunny and 66 degrees. Winds are out of the northwest at 13, making it feel a bit cooler out there. The pressure 2998. Now that pressure will continue to rise, and that usually means fair skies and pretty much what we will see, with the exception of the very active subtropical jet stream, which will occasionally bring some high clouds overhead. It looks like through Thursday, and then again on Friday, you can see some of that high cloudiness around the base of this trough of low pressure, which is now firmly in position over the eastern third of the nation, and that means the storm track isn't going to change much for the eastern third of the U.S., except for out west, where temperatures will start to warm because they're getting the ridge in the jet stream. Now the forecast tomorrow again showing temperatures only in the low 60s with some sunshine mixed with some clouds, some high clouds moving on by, but it'll look like it's all sunshine. I mentioned that storm. Well, there it is. It continues to be a big problem throughout the day on, again, Friday, all the way through Friday. And then here comes Monday, another nor'easter developing here, and these two will kind of gather and bring heavy snowfall from Ohio, West Virginia, Pennsylvania, all the way up Vermont, New Hampshire on Monday and Tuesday of next week. And they're not done. Long-range models again showing another system behind it. Temperatures currently into the 20s. No bitterly cold temperatures right now, but with all the snow on the ground, sometimes it will create some chillier air to move in, and that may be happening next week. 21 now in Minot for a high tomorrow, 32 in Cleveland, and 36 into Boston. And that cold air continues to just kind of move up and down across parts of the Northeast and throughout the upper Great Lakes. And we're going to get a taste of that now and again here with a series of fronts moving through. Another one will move through on Monday. So for boaters tomorrow, northwest winds not as strong at 15 knots. Seas will be 2 to 4 feet with a moderate chop out there. Here's the 7-day forecast. So 50 for a low tonight. Sunshine all the way through Saturday. And we spring forward 1 hour, time change, 70% chance for rain. That comes mainly Sunday afternoon and evening. And then on Monday, some clouds still hanging around, a 30% chance for showers. Temperatures cooling down, though, again on Tuesday and Wednesday due to that nor'easter expected to move on through. Back to you.
All right, Bob, thank you. Let's check first alert traffic. Right now, we're seeing some minor backups on US 41 near downtown Sarasota. Pretty typical this time of day. And then I-75 to the east, all green at this hour, which is nice to see at this hour of the day. Jacqueline.
Thank you, Scott. In health news tonight, new information from the CDC about the ongoing opioid crisis with some eye-opening numbers. With more, here's ABC's Kenneth Moten.
The numbers came out today and they're not good. The CDC's vital signs report says opioid overdoses were up an average of 30% across the country in just 1 year, between July of 2016 and September of 2017. The researchers compiled the numbers by looking at hospital billing information, but for the first time they were also able to use ER data as a more rapid gauge of how many emergency overdoses came in. These mostly non-fatal overdoses rose almost everywhere, particularly in the West and Southwest, and showed the most drastic jump in the Midwest, where overdoses climbed 70%. Overall, opioid overdoses were more likely to happen in large cities, but rural areas were by no means spared. Men and women alike were affected, and it didn't seem to matter what socioeconomic group people fell into. Only one state had declines in opioid overdoses: Kentucky. The CDC hopes this new emphasis on quicker data will cause emergency room physicians to be prepared first to treat the overdose, but also have a system in place to get addicts into care that will allow them to break their addiction. With today's Medical Minute, I'm Kenneth Moten, ABC News.
Genetic testing company 23andMe now has federal approval to sell at-home test kits to detect breast cancer. The FDA says this will be the first direct-to-consumer DNA test for 3 particular breast cancer gene mutations. The FDA says the test can only detect 3 out of more than 1,000 known BRCA mutations. Still to come, where a couple found the world's oldest message in a bottle, and a police chase suspect runs himself over with his own car. These stories and more when we return.
They're coming from Tampa, Fort Myers, even Orlando. They're coming from everywhere for the Sarasota Ford Promise. We promise we're more than a dealership. We're a destination with a movie theater, massage room, aquarium, cafe, and more. We promise to give you top dollar for your trade, even if you don't buy from us. And if you do, we promise you the best deal. Bring us any competitor's ad and we'll beat it by at least $1,000. That's why they're coming from everywhere to Sarasota Ford, where 41 meets 301. SarasotaFord.com.
I actually started playing the game at 11 years old, so I started a little bit later than most players. But I was actually raised on Fighting Joe. The value here at Robert Trent Jones is unsurpassable. I mean, I have looked to other places. I've traveled all the way across the country. Everything is perfect as far as everything is the golf course, the rolling of the greens. Everything that I've encountered has just been absolutely incredible. And for the money that you spend, for the value that you actually get, it is unsurpassable. I'd recommend it for anybody.
Rugs as Art. You know the name, you know the building, but do you know what's inside? Yes, Rugs as Art is Florida's #1 area rug superstore, but there is so much more. Amazing furniture, accessories, and art. All this and more. Come see for yourself. You'll love our personal touch and be pleasantly surprised by our affordable prices. Rugs as Art and more. There is so much more to explore.
Florida Studio Theater presents Blue Suede Shoes, celebrating the birth of rock and roll. From the father of rock and roll, Chuck Berry, to the king himself, Elvis Presley, this musical review features such great hits as Rock Around the Clock, Mustang Sally, Johnny Be Good, and of course, Blue Suede Shoes. Critics are calling Blue Suede Shoes a burst of rock history, dynamic and high voltage. Audiences are calling it phenomenal. Blue Suede Shoes has been held over by popular demand. Tickets can be purchased by calling 941-366-9000 or by visiting floridastudiotheater.org.
I was always worried and scared. Mom was in pain. She wasn't going to get any better, and all the trips to the ER were painful for all of us. Then we called Tidewell Hospice, and everything changed. Now she has care in our home when she needs it, surrounded by family. We know we don't have much time left with Mom, but we decided to make the best out of that time. Tidewell Hospice, it's more than you think.
Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, step-by-step videos, and Suncoast Restaurant Guide. You'll find it all at mysuncoast.com/dining.
An amazing find in an Australian beach is confirmed to be an actual relic dating back 130 years.
Jeremy Roth has more in today's Take a Look at This.
You are looking at the world's oldest message in a bottle. It was found by an Australian couple on a beach in Western Australia. Experts say the bottle was thrown into the sea more than 130 years ago. The date on the message? June 12, 1886. It was thrown into the Indian Ocean from a German sailing ship named Paula. According to the Western Australia Museum, it was one of thousands thrown into oceans as part of a German experiment to find faster shipping routes. Officials in Germany and Australia have confirmed the authenticity of the find. Taking it to the streets. That's one Virginia dad's approach to discipline.
This right here is just old school simple parenting.
After misbehaving, 10-year-old Hayden Thornhill was kicked off the school bus. So his dad made him run a mile to school for all 3 days of his suspension.
He got actually kicked off the bus for 3 days because he was being a little bully, which I do not tolerate.
The Roanoke dad documented the punishment, posting a video to Facebook that has already gotten more than 25 million views. Some are applauding his approach. Others are saying he's just bullying his son. There are no hard feelings, though. Hayden says he feels the punishment fit the crime. Speaking of crime and punishment, watch this suspect in Virginia trying to flee from a police pursuit run himself over with his own car. Derp. The man wasn't injured, but was charged with DWI. Actually, you could file this one under crime and runishment. For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Miami Heat guard Dwayne Wade paid a surprise visit to students at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School today. Wade arrived at the school during a lunch period and talked with the crowd in the cafeteria. Today marked the first full day with regular class schedule since the mass shooting. Wade later wrote on Twitter that he had a great conversation with students about some important and impactful things that they have planned. He says he's going to help them as much as he can in the coming months.
Good. That's so good to hear, especially in the wake of everything they've had to deal with lately. Well, still to come on your Suncoast News, the search for the next Northport police chief back at square one. And what the city manager says he's looking for in a candidate this time around.
And 1 year later, a witness comes forward with new details about a hit-and-run crash in Sarasota. What the family is now offering for information that leads to an arrest.
It's California Closet's lighting and accessories sales event. Save up to $1,000 now through April 30th. Call 1-800-CAL-CLOSETS for your free design consultation or visit us online at californiaclosets.com.
Alex Karras Lincoln's 40th anniversary sale. Drive a brand new 2018 Lincoln MKC for $279 per month or the Lincoln MKZ for $299 per month. We have a great selection of certified pre-owned Lincolns. These vehicles have warranties up to 100,000 miles and come with complimentary roadside assistance. Alex Karras Lincoln, where our mission statement is consistent commitment. Every client, every time. Located 2 miles north of the Sarasota-Bradenton Airport on US 41.
I owed the IRS $10,000.
I owed the IRS $20,000.
The IRS garnished my wages.
They put a lien on my house.
The IRS is the most powerful collection agency in the world. They do not give up until you pay.
I couldn't sleep. We were being audited. I called Tax Solutions Now, and a great big weight was lifted off my shoulders.
I called Tax Solutions Now, and they got the IRS off my back.
Tax Solutions Now had my wage garnishment lifted in 48 hours.
Tax Solutions Now can get you help. Our agents know the rules, can stop the pain, and get you the best deal.
We saved our home and overcame the most powerful collection agency in the world.
We connect you with a team of former IRS agents and tax professionals who get the IRS off your back. Time is running out. Call Tax Solutions Now.
Call 1-800-565-7740. That's 1-800-565-7740.
Today, everyone is looking for more fashionable choices in flooring than ever before. And G. Fried has responded with a huge selection of carpets, tile, wood, laminate, and vinyl. Installed by a highly skilled team, G. Fried has got everything you're looking for and more. The next time you think about quality flooring, think G. Fried Flooring America. G. Fried, Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
I'll be right back.
It's California Closet's lighting and accessories sales event. Save up to $1,000 now through April 30th. Call 1-800-CAL-CLOSETS for your free design consultation or visit us online at californiaclosets.com.